Hi, welcome back to Tea Time with Allie and
Angelique.
Lucky you get a double dose of us this week because we just had an episode come out
on the podcast.
So you should go listen to that. It's called Intentional Singlehood.
The single ladies.
And just so you know, sneak peek into the episode. If you're not married or you're not a priest or you're not a nun, you're technically single in the eyes of the church. Even if you're in a relationship.
Single ladies.
Which sounds really weird. Like, technically single, but you're in a relationship. Like, that sounds like you're like, you think that you're allowed to. Like, that's not saying that you can date around if you have a significant other. It's just saying that's what the church says.
If you're not married,
it's your vocation. It's your vocation. Your vocation is singlehood. Anyway, that's not what we're talking about in this video. I don't know why I decided to do this.
I don't know either. I just watched it happen.
Yeah. Sometimes my brain works faster than my mouth can. No. My mouth works faster than my brain can process it. So my mouth just says things, and my brain is like, "Why'd you just say that, you idiot?"
And then if you're me, you're along for the ride.
Anyway, today we're talking about stress.
Sorry, that cough is hanging on.
Yeah, mine is too.
Stress.
Yeah, that helps, I'm sure. But so like, I'm sure everybody's experienced stress in their life. Until I started teaching, I thought the most stressful thing was college. Yeah.
Teaching.
Yep.
I miss it, but I think that there's more stress in what I'm doing now.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense though. It's like
I'm in charge of all of the lives.
Yeah. You're not just in charge.
I'm part in charge of all of them. Not all the way in charge.
You're not just in charge of like the kids in your class, you're in charge of the kids in the building.
And then the teachers that go with them.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So, but we're going to talk about stress and maybe some unhealthy coping mechanisms that we all adopt at some point in our lives.
And maybe not all, but most.
I mean, I think at least once everybody has had an unhealthy coping mechanism for stress.
Probably.
Because you have to figure out that it's unhealthy before you can make a healthy choice, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about stress today. And I personally, whenever I'm stressed out, I like to eat dessert and food that's bad for me. Mm-hmm. And I like to spend money on stuff that I don't need. I say like to. I do spend money on stuff that I don't need when I'm stressed out because I'm like, this will make me feel better, and then it doesn't.
I also reach for food, either sugary or fried, because that makes me feel better, even though it doesn't actually make me feel better. I also am the queen of procrastinating when I'm stressed. If I'm stressed, then I'm going to procrastinate until I'm even more stressed. And then I cry and get it done. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
But that's how I like to cope sometimes.
And, like, you're never not going to be, like, I'm sure there'll be points in your life where you're not stressed out, but, like, everybody's going to experience stress, and they're going to experience it differently. My brain also likes to over-anxious when I'm stressed.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so, like, I'm already anxious in general. I've talked about this a little bit. We had a whole episode on it. You should go listen to it.
Yeah,
or go watch it. That's a tea time episode.
That was a tea time episode.
But, so everybody's going to experience it, and, like, your mental health, like whatever state your mental health is in and things like that is also going to be affected. So like it's going to affect the way you deal with it. So like when I'm stressed out, I'm always like, this is the worst thing that could ever happen and I will never recover from this. And I'll go to Doomsday 5.
See, my brain does a different thing where like if I'm stressed out, my brain's like, but what if this also happens? And also this, and also this, and also this, until I'm drowning in a sea of anxiety. And it's my life.
Mine is like, you know, when I'm running late today, you know what's going to happen? Or like running late. I'm running not as on time as I normally am, is what I should say.
She doesn't know how to be late.
That is true. There's only been one time that I've been late to something. It's because I was invited 10 minutes before it happened, and it was 20 minutes from my house. and they won't let me live it down.
It is the only time I ever beat Allie anywhere. So.
I'm mad about it. Anyway, this was like 2-3 years, maybe 4 years ago.
It was a while ago.
It's because
it was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. That's when you lived in the Maribel.
Yeah.
Sorry,
it's fine.
I overspoke. Yeah.
Anyway, so mine is like, well, I'm running not as on time as I normally am. I'm probably gonna crash the car today, and then what am I gonna do? Call in? What if I can't call in? They're gonna think I'm a no-show, and like that's how my brain works. That's my spiraling. Is like I go to the worst possible scenario. How can I afford a paramedic? Like that's literally how mine works. Am I gonna be out of work longer than my like 10 days allotted to me throughout the year, and I didn't pay for disability?
Anxiety.
Yeah, that's how mine works. So, like with stress and with like unhealthy coping mechanisms, they're gonna make you feel good, like instant gratification, right?
But then you're gonna feel even worse afterward.
And like we could actually link this back to our talk about emotional and physical chastity. Is like that makes you feel good for a minute, but
and then you don't feel good anymore.
Then afterwards you're gonna feel really bad. And so it's like that, like, yeah, this ice cream's gonna make me feel good while I'm eating it. And then later, whenever I step on the scale, I'm gonna be like, it was that ice cream I had.
Shouldn't have done that.
Ice cream I had 3 days in a row. The 3 pints of ice cream I had 3 days in a row. Yeah. When my first year teaching, where I lived was on the way home from Walmart, and on my way home, Walmart was there. Yes, that's how you say that. There was a Walmart on my way home.
Yeah,
that's how you say it. There's a Walmart on my way home.
There's a Walmart on your way home.
And I was but I don't. Here's the thing. That one, like, I'm not as stressed out as I was my first year teaching.
Fair enough.
And so it's like I don't feel the need to stop. I also used to not be good at buying myself groceries, and so like I wouldn't have like good food at home to cook or like already have. And so like my MO was like buying a frozen pizza and a pint of ice cream, and I would eat the whole pizza and the whole pint of ice cream. And then there are times whenever I get so stressed out and anxious that I don't eat. And that's when I know it's like bad.
It's a bad time.
That's a bad time. But with all like bad coping mechanisms for things, there's also good ones.
Yeah.
And you know, as Catholics, I highly recommend going and sitting with Jesus in adoration if you have that ability. That's definitely like the best, because like, you know, Jesus is gonna, like, he holds you all the time, but like he's like right there, and his presence is right there, so you've got him holding you.
And if you don't live in an area where adoration is readily available, you could just sit in the chapel.
Yeah.
That also works.
To pray a rosary, ask Mama for some help.
Sometimes going to confession is a good thing to do when you're really stressed.
Well, especially if you,
because that takes all the bad off of your shoulders, and you can like relax a little bit, and that'll help with the stress as well.
Just like getting a prayer routine, I think, has been very helpful for me in like not being as stressed. And that sounds really weird, but it's like in the morning I have the prayers I say in the morning, and then I have the prayers I say at night, and like my little prayer routine, and I think that really helps. But I'm also an anxious person, so routine just helps me in general.
Fair enough.
I don't know what to do with myself in the summer sometimes.
Also getting out in nature, just taking a quick walk in the sun and the grass and the breeze feels a lot for your stress.
And like people who suffer with depression, like the sun is so good for you. It's good for everybody. But the sun is like that vitamin D sometimes. I remember when I found out I was vitamin D deficient, they were like, you gotta be really careful because people who are vitamin D deficient often also have depression. And I find that when I go outside more, I am definitely a lot happier. And there are days whenever it's like been raining for days and we haven't gone outside at school. I say that like I'm the child. But like
She doesn't get to play on the playground.
I know. I like to sit out in the sun on the playground while the kids play. And so it's like it's an important part of the day for all of us. Like it helps you know, rejuvenate, get that sun in, and it also helps the kids. So getting outside is 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10 would recommend.
Also eat healthy. I know that like it's, you know,
It's not fun.
As a woman, I have this app that helps me with womanly things. And it always says drink more water and eat good for yourself, even though you don't want to right now. And
Fair enough.
like it literally says, I know it might be hard, but you should eat healthier right now. And really, that's just good advice for all of us.
For like all of the time.
Yeah, like I know that there are times when it's like it's just easier. Like this week, it's just easier to eat garbage food for me. And like that's again not to say like don't ever have a little bit of ice cream or don't ever have that fast food that you've been craving for months or weeks or whatever. And like I'm guilty of being like it's so much easier to just go purchase food. Like today I did not want to heat up food and I thought about, and I'm not even stressed, it's just more like I was just being lazy.
I definitely ate out dinner today, but because I like to, okay, so a little bit about me. I like to meal prep all my meals on Saturday or Sunday and then reheat all week so that I don't have to stress about it. And I finished all of my food early this week, which is suspicious, but I didn't want to cook, so I didn't. Jeez.
But like again, that's not to say that that's not like okay, you know, every once in a while. It's more just like when you're not feeding your body the right food, then your body's not going to respond in the way that you want it to, and that includes the way that your brain responds to things. Any like part of your body is going to respond in a way that's like maybe not conducive to what you're doing, but it's easier for you, but it's not better for you.
Yes.
Like sometimes the easy way isn't the better way.
And by sometimes she means almost always.
I mean, I guess that's not necessarily true. Like I do think there are things that like make things easier.
Yeah,
but
like meal prepping on the weekend.
Yeah. Like that's a good one. Like meal prepping on the weekend definitely makes it easier to get through the week. Because you're not sitting there going, oh, what am I having for lunch tomorrow? Oh yeah, I already made it.
I've made so many decisions today. I can't even think about what food to eat tomorrow. Yeah.
And if you're a teacher, you make decisions for everybody else too all day long. So that's really hard. And then other people ask you to make decisions and you want to hit them in the face. Just a little bit.
But don't do that.
But don't. Because hitting people is wrong.
But think about it, because it makes you feel a little bit better. It's a weird place.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, but being stressed, it's a part of life, and you know, it's definitely about like us being in a fallen world and the fall and all of that. So, you know, it's just part of human nature at this or humanity at this point, not human nature.
Yes.
But trying to make your lifestyle a little bit healthier, and definitely, especially in those times when you know you don't want to be, because those are going to be the times where you fall into the patterns and you're going to live there for a while if you let it happen, you know?
Yeah.
And then just like knowing yourself and knowing like what your stressors are also very important. Yes. Like taking yourself out of those situations that are going to lead you to stress is important for you and your well-being as well.
Unless it's your job. Don't just quit your job.
Yeah, don't do that.
Another good thing to do when you're stressed is to vent to a friend if you have one. And if you don't, vent to your pets.
Go make a friend.
Pets are really good listeners because they can't reply.
I don't know, my cat just walks away.
She's doing that right now, actually. Oh, no, she changed her mind.
Now she's going to lick herself in front of everyone.
Yum.
Anyway, but
just do your best,
you know, and ask God for help. Like, he wants to talk to you. Talk to him. pray. Like I think that's like what everybody always says though. Like just pray about it. But like actually just
It's common sense, I'm afraid.
But like yeah, like people are always like, well, what do I say? What do I do? Like honestly, there are times when I'm so stressed out that writing down literally every single thought I have in my head is actually the best thing for me. Oh, and you know what else is like top tier? Maybe it's not a healthy coping mechanism, but it just happens sometimes. Just letting out a good cry.
I can't relate.
Like
but
sometimes
I feel like trash if I cry even a little bit.
Well, you know, like you always feel bad afterwards, but then you're like, man, I needed that. Like I needed that. Like you know, you got the hot face and it's like all scrunched up and you're all red nosed and things. But then after that, like when that part's over, you're like, man, I needed that.
All right.
But I think, you know, pretty much everything that we had to say.
The worst part about life is that stress is inevitable. And the best thing to do is to, as soon as you can, find healthy coping mechanisms to handle it. And if things get too heavy and you need help, ask for help. That's hard, but you can do it. I have faith in you. Anyway, any more? We're good? All right, guys. Sorry it was kind of short for us.
This is a good length video. I don't know what you're talking about.
It was kind of short for us. Like, subscribe, comment.
Recently, yes.
Ring the bell so you get notifications when we post. Because sometimes Allie accidentally posts videos a couple days early. That's a really fun adventure.
And by a couple days early, she means I posted on Tuesday last week. And it was supposed to come out on Saturday.
Sometimes scheduling videos rather than posting them is hard.
That happened one time out of hundreds of videos. I would just like to point out.
Nobody's making fun of you.
Go back and change it. I tried.
It's fine. It's not a big deal.
Anyway.
Comment if you need prayers or friends, or if you have any venting you need to vent out that you need a place to vent it to. We'll read it. Because we don't have anything better to do. Obviously, our goal in life is to be YouTube influencers. That was a really smooth transition into that.
Okay, Brett Cooper.
Anyway, don't forget to keep striving for likeness, and we will see you next week. We don't know what we're recording. We had an idea for a few videos, and then we were told no.
We weren't told no.
Allie voted no because Brian's gonna do them.
Yeah.
I still think we could do them. Anyway, listen to the podcast if you need anything. Email us, Facebook us, Instagram us. We're here.
Slip into the DMs. Not really. That sounds so...
Why did you just say that? Anyway.
Instagram us and I just... Don't do that.
Don't inappropriately Instagram us.
Yeah. My dad sees those.
Does he?
I mean, he's on the Instagram.
Oh, I just didn't know if he actually did.
And the Facebook.
Anyway.
I'll send it to him too. If somebody comes...
We're tattling.
I'll tell on you. And then he's gonna get you because he's my dad.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. Bye, friends.
Bye.